welcome back.
Hey, Stanley.
Yeah, George?
How'd you like your own TV show?
Hey, I got something to mail you out.
Oh, you be careful now, you hear? Before you go and say something you're going to regret for the rest of your days.
Like what? Like the wrong kid died?
Oh, no!
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of The Wrong Podcast Died. I'm Brian.
And I'm Rod.
And on this episode, we have a very special guest, and she looks really excited, so I'm going to let her go and say her name. And I would usually introduce the guest, but you look super excited, so go for it.
And I'm Alannah Swenka. I'm super excited to be here and talk about this movie, especially.
Yeah, Iowa filmmaker extraordinaire.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Iowa indie filmmaker and actress, so.
So we know you because I've been to Snake Alley Festival film in Burlington, Iowa, several years. It kind of launched my podcasting career because I was sitting at a table and from going, it's networking.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sitting at a table with 5 or 6 other people, and most of them were friends, and they're going around, and one person's from New York, and they're an actor and a filmmaker. One person's a filmmaker and an actor and a podcaster, and then the next person's a writer, and and they get to me, and what do you do? And I said, I just fucking like to watch movies and hang out. So it kind of gave me a little push to, when I come back next time, I'm going to say I've done something other than watch movies and hang out. We're talking about the film you picked from 1986. I'm not even sure you were born then.
I was not born in 1986.
Yeah. So we are very old, Rod, because we would have been 8 years old when this came out.
Going on 8.
Labyrinth from Jim Henson and George Lucas.
It's not always well. Don't tell me truth hurts, little girl, 'cause it hurts like hell.
Yeah, but see, that's what I think this is like 90s kids movie, because this movie was technically considered a flop in 1986 when it was released. So it took a while for...
Oh, yeah.
And Rod had some pretty cool trivia about the movie that I didn't know, and maybe I have it wrote down. I took my notes last week or 2 weeks ago. So you said it was Jim Henson's last movie, Rod?
I believe so. It was his final movie, and he was pretty depressed over it. And due to its failure when originally released, this is the final movie directed by Jim Henson. His son has revealed that the time after Labyrinth release was very difficult for him. And however, it wasn't very long before the flop gained a huge cult following and restoring his faith in his work. So he must have caught on to some of it catching on, the cult following. I mean, it's big now. I mean, people talk about it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It had a budget of $25 million. It only made like 12.7. And then it went overseas. And then the UK and Japan and parts of Europe, it made over 34 million. So it made its money back. But he's probably used to his movies making $100,000 or $200,000.
12.7 million domestically when it had that kind of budget to make was,
Yeah, and we talk a lot about films need to make at least double their budget until they start making money because of all the press, all of that. So this film would have had to make 50 million before it even started making money, probably. And who knows what they paid David Bowie. Maybe that's in that 25 million, but...
Well, let me go into some of the stats on this one. Was rated PG, runtime of 1 hour and 41 minutes. And the starring cast was David Bowie as Jareth, Jennifer Connelly as Sarah. I used to have a crush on her because,
Same.
She's gorgeous. Yeah. Brian Henson, the son of Jim Henson, did the voice of Hoggle. Frank Oz as the Wise Man. And I think he had some other parts. Cool story about Frank Oz is one of my best friends. His aunt works for Frank Oz as a caretaker or whatever. So it was in San Francisco at the time. But some of the other characters, which like there was Ludo.
Ludo? Is that your name?
Ludo.
The big giant Sasquatch dude, and Sir Didymus. Is that how you say it? Didymus?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like we said, directed by Jim Henson, who unfortunately died in 1990 at the age of 53. Did a lot of great things.
I mean, God forbid you've never seen this movie. I mean, if you were born in the 70s, 80s, or you were born in the 90s and you saw it, it kind of comes from that cloth of late 80s, early 90s puppet films. Never Ending Story, this film, The Dark Crystal. I'm trying to think. I just bought a DVD for $1 and it had like 4 movies on it, and Dark Crystal, Labyrinth were 2 of them. I don't know what the other 2 was.
Well, a lot of the Muppet movies, Sesame Street movie.
Yeah, but I feel like these are different. These are outside of those. These aren't Follow the Big Bird or, Elmo and Grouchland or any like, Tim Curry and the Pirates. This is a darker side of the puppets and the Muppets.
It has like an adult appeal.
It's also a musical, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. 5 original songs, all written by David Bowie.
Crazy.
Yeah. I don't know how he sang anything with his pants so damn tight.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up. His crotch area is like, I couldn't stop looking at it.
Well,
what was the deal?
Maybe you had a crush on David Bowie too.
I don't remember that as a kid.
No? Well, you probably weren't looking at it.
Oh, the cod piece. Yes.
Yeah.
The famous cod piece.
So I'll give you a little synopsis if you've never seen this film. When 16-year-old Sarah wishes her baby brother away, the Goblin King Jareth grants her wish and spirits the child to his magical labyrinth. Given just 13 hours to solve the maze and rescue her brother, Sarah must navigate a surreal world filled with strange creatures, deceptive paths, and unexpected allies, discovering her own strength along the way. I didn't realize how many people in this labyrinth don't like this guy, the Goblin King, because most of them were like really happy to help her, right?
Yeah, he's an oppressive tyrant.
Yeah. Well, also they were afraid of him too. So
if we're going to ruin the movie, Hoggle is one of the creatures that she comes across. Almost like he was a goblin, but he didn't transform fully. I'm not sure what he is. He poisons her at one point and she forgives him. So one question I had, are all the goblins just babies he's kidnapped?
maybe.
He's got a lot of kidnapped babies.
The little baby is Toby, right?
Yeah, yep.
And wasn't he saying that he was wanting to turn Toby into a goblin or
Yeah, it's like implied, like he'll become one of us. And
right.
But then I think he was going to give him the name Jareth, which is his name. So I didn't know like what that meant, right?
yeah, there's a book that this is based on, right? I've never read that. After rewatching it for this, I was like, I feel like I need to pick that up and see what that source material was. This had a whole different ending they had originally written for this. That was not the ending that made it into the movie, where Sarah like berates Jareth until he becomes a little goblin and then she stomps him.
Oh, I like that idea so much better than it being just this weird dream that, is it a dream? Is it not a dream?
Yeah, they definitely went for like Jim Henson's own Alice in Wonderland vibe.
Well, I guess they used that ending like 30 years later in It Chapter 2.
Yeah, where the kids all
Where they berate Pennywise and he becomes smaller and smaller. So
There's more than one way to make someone small.
I can't believe that he is.
What? Make it believe that he is. Oh, me, small.
In 86, would Nightmare on Elm Street been out already?
Yep, 1984.
1984. So I don't know if this is written, but I mean, it's written already, right? And the original film's out, maybe?
No, if you're talking about the TV series, that didn't come out till 1990.
But it's in that vein of you have no power over me, because without fear, Pennywise doesn't have power, Freddy doesn't have power, and neither does Jareth the Goblin King. When she realizes that he doesn't have the power, when she can't remember her lines for whatever play she's doing, and Ambrosius, who's the dog that the other dog rides, is actually her dog. So there was a lot of that, well, this character is this person, and this is this person in her life, is the way I took it. So to me, it was a dream.
Yeah, so I own this DVD. And so I pulled it out and I realized that this like front cover piece had a bunch of weird information in it. And they reference this, there's a quote from Jim Henson that says, "It is all a dream, like Alice's Adventures in Wonderland or Dorothy's in Wizard of Oz. In my own mind, it is. But it's all rather ambiguous, dream or reality, fantasy or fact. It's whatever you like to make it, whatever it takes you to."
So who was Jareth? Her stepmom?
Yeah, maybe.
Her father? Yeah. I don't feel like either of her parents were overly mean, but you don't get a lot of them in the movie. I mean, I wish maybe you got a little more of the story of their relationship and maybe a little less of the goofy walking through the labyrinth. I mean, there's a lot of time in this labyrinth.
Yeah.
A lot of walking. It's reminiscent of In a Violent Nature to me. It's a lot of walking. I don't know if you've seen that, but
I haven't seen that. It's a lot of walking. That's not what people talk about.
To me, it was. I mean, I enjoyed it. I love the Muppets. I love Jim Henson. We went to the Peoria Museum, which is in Illinois, and saw the Jim Henson exhibit. I own several records of the Muppets. My favorite Christmas Carol is the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, such a good one.
Yeah.
My favorite Muppets is Muppet Treasure Island.
Yeah. So I've seen that on the big screen here at the theater. They showed it a couple years ago. So I love the Muppets.
He also created a world called Fraggle Rock. So, I mean, that was huge in the 80s.
And kind of maybe built off of Fraggle Rock a little bit with this.
Yeah, it would have been about the same time. So.
Yeah, so just not my favorite.
This isn't your favorite Jim Henson?
No, it's not my favorite Jim Henson. But I mean, I'm much more of a Muppet fan than a Labyrinth or Dark Crystal fan.
It's time to play the music. It's time to light the light. It's time to meet the Muppets on the Muppet Show tonight.
I hadn't seen this movie in a long time. It was probably a good 20 years. So I didn't remember it at first, but I did watch it twice like I usually do. And I mean, yeah, I love the songs with Bowie going off. Was it Magic Dance and...
Magic dance, magic dance, magic dance, magic dance.
Jump the magic jump. Come on, Rod, do it.
No, I'm sorry. I hurt myself.
It's really fun. I tried to get Finley, my 7-year-old, to watch it, and I don't even remember what she was doing, but she was busy doing something else. Probably wanting to watch K-pop Demon Hunter for the 50th time this week. But I've also tried to get her to watch Neverending Story, and she won't watch it, but she'll want to listen to the Stranger Things clip where they're singing the song from the Neverending Story.
This was one of my favorite movies growing up. I mean, this, I think really informed just kind of my weird way of thinking about things. I mean, the way they use practical effects too. And then music for me all growing up was really important. And I forever was David Bowie's one of my favorite artists. And it was 100% because of this movie.
I can see that. I mean, I could see that for a lot of things. I enjoy the music.
What I found very interesting, though, is that all the encounters with the different creatures, whether it was the door knockers or what were the head things that kept taking their head off, and then
they called them the fiery.
Fiery.
Hey, lady, where you go with a head like that?
Hey, man, I know what we can do. Take off her head.
Yeah, let's take off.
In the credits or on IMDb, they list them as fiery. And there's so many people who are involved in making just one of those happen. So I watched a documentary on the making of this also. And they were talking about they couldn't decide how they were going to do the puppeteering, because obviously everyone who worked on this was masters of puppeteering. And so for the fiery, they combine sometimes they have the feet attached to the puppeteer, sometimes they're attached to poles, and they change it up so that they can take it apart. And then everyone was in black velvet, covered with a black velvet backdrop. And then they put it back over the top of that. So
wow,
how crazy would it be to see this film with no green screen, no black velvet, just the people doing the puppeting?
Yeah. I mean, the puppeteering's wild. What I didn't realize until this rewatch, and I was reading some more about it, is how many people were involved in making Hoggle happen. So there's a woman who's doing Hoggle's body, and she controls the movement of the head, but there's 4 different mechanics running the facial movements. And then there's Brian Henson, Jim Henson's son, doing the voice. So there's 6 people involved in just making that one character move and interact.
Well, did you see how they worked Ludo?
Yeah.
There was a camera or something in his right horn, and then that's how the guy had to operate because he couldn't really see much more.
Yes, they said somewhere that they kept making Ludo grunt because it would open his mouth. It was an excuse for his mouth to be open more. They had to remake the Ludo costume. They made it twice. So they first started doing it out of foam, and then they were like, this is huge. How much is this going to weigh? And it was over 150 pounds or something. They were like, we have to remake it. So they scrapped the whole thing and remade it, and it was still over 70 pounds when it was done.
Can you imagine being the catering company for these movies? We're going to work on a movie. Was there 10, 12 people in the movie? No, there's 95 people working on each scene. Oh, man.
But go back into the encounters, it's like almost like the Odyssey in a way, except it wasn't somebody getting, she sort of got stranded. She was looking for her baby brother, but just those random encounters with all these and having to get by. I don't remember, but like the door knocker thing where one of us tells the truth, the other one doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just some stuff that I think he pulled from like Greek mythology and things like that. So,
well, I mean, the story of the Labyrinth is from Greek mythology. So,
right.
Like, again, like Alice in Wonderland and The Wizard of Oz and stuff, kind of picking up friends as you go. But then the Alice in Wonderland aspect of like these riddles that are coming at you and being in an unusual place.
I feel like anytime we watch a movie, if I don't like it or I dislike it, or I'm not saying I dislike this, but even if I'm at like an 8, we talk about it, Rod and I, or me and my other co-host on our other podcast, or the guest, and it bumps it up several points because you, in hindsight, think of all the hard work that these people did into it. And I hear, how you feel about it and how Rod feels about it, and it always bumps it up a point. So it's always great to sit and talk with people about movies that I just finished watching it 5 minutes before I sent the link. I always try to get as close to the record time as I can because I'm old, and it kind of keeps it fresh in my mind. Because you said there's 6 people doing the Fireys each?
It changes depending on what kind of puppeteering they have, but I think there's usually 4 people, like at the most, behind it, because they'll have somebody, they might have people on the feet or somebody on the body, and then like the head, the arms, like all the limbs can detach so they can operate kind of separately.
But I think at one point there's maybe 6 of those on the screen, 5 or 6 of those on the screen with her.
When they show you like some of the rehearsals for that, and it's just like, there'll be like 3 or 4 people behind each character moving them around.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah, that's just a lot of people in one spot. That's maybe 5 minutes of the movie, 10 minutes of the movie. I mean, the closing is the rocks and this whole army of goblins. I can't imagine how many people's in that.
And I read for this too. I mean, my DVD copy I probably bought in the early 2000s, so this might have changed. But for the Goblin City, that was the largest ever made panoramic black backcloth, the one that they made to make that Goblin City for that fight.
I would imagine it still is, because you would go CGI, right? You wouldn't do that.
Yeah, and that's what maybe like it changing now, and you wouldn't. But yeah, that was the largest ever made panoramic backcloth for that Goblin City.
Yeah, it makes me sad knowing that this was his last film, and hopefully he had an idea of how people felt about it, and that it got this cult following, that people still love it, that people still, enjoy the music. But it also makes me sad that he was sad because he did so much amazing stuff before this, and so much amazing stuff has happened after he's been gone.
I mean, all of these sets were like built for this movie and like hand constructed, put together. And then they talk about on this movie, he really did like the 3 no's of filmmaking, which is you don't work with puppets, you don't work with animals, and you don't work with children. And you had all of them in this. And there's this amazing scene in this documentary about the making of this where Jim Henson is trying to direct this chicken. Because if you notice, there's these chickens and stuff in the labyrinth all the time. And he's trying to get like this one chicken to like do the right thing. And then the chicken jumps up and Jim Henson's like, well, he's not going to be a star today.
I remember seeing a chicken when the Magic Dance song is on, and they're zooming out, and David Bowie throws the baby way too far up in the air. And they're zooming out the doorway, and there's just a chicken like up here. Just in the dark, you can just see like a shadow of it. I was like, why is there a chicken there? But
yeah, there's chickens like a couple places in the labyrinth. I think there was a vulture at one point in Dance Magic Dance also.
Maybe the goblins eat chickens. I don't know. Yeah.
Especially with the child actor, too. I read that he was hard to work with because he kept crying all the time. I think Bowie scared him a little bit.
But what he loved was puppets. That kid loved puppets is what they said. And now, I mean, Toby, the kid in this, his real name is Toby also. And he went on to do the new Dark Crystal remake. He was the puppet master of the new Dark Crystal.
Wow.
But yeah, they talk the one scene where like he's sitting there talking to him and he's like, I think I'll name you Jareth. Like Toby's kind of like looking off and he looks really hypnotized. Well, they zoomed in enough. David Bowie has a puppet on his hand over here because the kid wouldn't stop crying. But if he had this puppet, then he just would like look at it and was mesmerized.
One of the shots towards the end of the movie is Toby sleeping and kind of waking up from a nap. So I'm like, you had to time that perfectly. You had to film that around that kid's nap time, right?
Yeah.
You know, I've read some places that like he kept crying, like the thing with the puppet. And then I've read some other places that like they had to do special things to make him cry at certain times. Like when he's in the goblin hole, that they had to like keep him up because he liked the puppet so much he wouldn't cry and get upset. So I don't know. It's probably a little mix of both babies, you know? But he's Brian, I don't remember what his last name is, but the guy who did the design work, so like the costume design, all the goblin design and stuff, Toby is his real child.
Oh.
So yeah, he had like drawn this baby in for like the design work, and he said 6 months later I had a baby, and he kind of looked like that one. So
Wow.
So they're like, you're hired. We only have 25 million. We'll give you a buck.
Some of the other things that I had found out was that this is the first movie that had a CGI animal with the owl. So, I mean, I believe we had seen something. Oh, what was the Alfred Hitchcock movie we covered? Vertigo.
Yeah.
Where it was the first time that they used some form of computer generated, but this was the first animal computer generated.
yeah, first realistic CGI animal in a feature.
Right.
It's interesting.
The other thing was the, what would you call that globe that he kept juggling?
It's a crystal. He has crystal balls.
They actually had a juggler that was behind Bowie, and he didn't even see what he was doing. He just kept doing it. That's how good this guy was.
It's wild to watch him rehearse because he's got that cape on a lot of the time, and this guy is like crouched down doing these juggling.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But Jim Henson was a big fan of this juggler's show, and he said it was the closest thing to real magic he had ever seen. And so they brought it on.
Now, check this out. Here were some other people that were up for the part. And you've probably seen this. Michael Jackson, Prince, and Mick Jagger. How different would this movie have been if, you know, one of those three would have been in it? Prince,
Prince is on the ground humping the labyrinth.
God.
With that cod piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just bigger than he is, probably.
Yeah, Prince wasn't a very big dude.
No. I mean, Michael Jackson did the
Wiz.
The Wiz, yeah, which I enjoy that. That's fun. It's another musical, kind of on the darker side. So I could see that for him. Who was the other one?
Mick Jagger.
Mick Jagger. Wow.
He had some sci-fi, cop-like movie or something.
Yeah, but I don't feel like his voice matches well with this.
Well, they let David Bowie write the music.
Yeah.
So it would have been a totally different thing because they probably would have done a similar thing. And David Bowie said that Jim Henson pretty much let him have a lot of creative freedom in creating what that character was going to say and what it was going to sound like.
Don't give your babies away, Rod. Don't wish.
Well, I don't have any, so
okay.
Good thing.
Well, I guess it wasn't hers. It was her brother, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize till this watch, too, that her stepmother is Barb Leahy from Trailer Park Boys.
Ricky, I can't tell you what you've done for me. And I want to settle down. I want to start a family again.
Holy fuck, I love licorice.
Me too.
Yep.
I guess the one other thing is that if you look in her room, many of the characters are present in her room. Like Hoggle is in there, Sir Didymus shows up. Then I heard something about Jareth was represented by some kind of little statue or something.
Yeah, there's a statue next to her mirror when she's standing there, and he's kind of right there. And then the Fireys are also a handmade kind of doll thing that's in the back.
Yeah, and you see a poster for Cats, and I would imagine there's other posters that I didn't notice.
Yeah, the MC Escher poster obviously is big for that last scene. And Where the Wild Things Are is a reference to Ludo, because one of the monsters in Where the Wild Things Are is Ludo. Yeah.
Nice.
A lot of Easter eggs then.
And that's also about a bad kid who gets taken the monsters. So
well, they should have taken me then. What am I doing here? Lord.
You didn't have a sister to wish you away.
Oh, well, I had. Yeah, I did. And I'm sure she's to this day probably wants to get rid of me.
The Goblin King wasn't in love with her, apparently.
No, that was weird too. There
was a weird dynamic of older Goblin King in love with this 14-year-old. I guess she's supposed to be 16 in the movie.
Well, even still, though, he's probably 200 years old.
Yeah. I mean, we let Twilight happen, so.
Well, I guess.
There's such a sad love deep in your eyes, it kind of held you.
I actually went and saw this in concert, so with a live band and the movie playing kind of recently. And it was the first time I had watched it in a while, and I thought, dang, this is the thing that sparked all of that fairy smut where we're all really into that morally gray male character. It's I'm really feeling this is telling me some things about how my other fantasy reading has developed.
Well, I mean, it was a big theme in the 80s and into the 90s where we talked about Dirty Dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talked about The Graduate. And, It's crazy how these themes just keep coming up throughout those times, but sort of still continues on here and there. But there's a little more of a line you got to toe now to do those kind of things.
This like speech he does at the very end, I was like, this could come right out of a fairy smut book right now. Where he's like, I pulled it up before this because I knew I was going to talk about it. He goes, just fear me, love me, do as I say, and I will be your slave. I was like, that's like Zayden's going to say that, right?
Yeah.
Like somebody.
Yeah, but this is a dream, Rod. Dirty Dancing was real. Yeah, I mean, supposed to be real.
Okay,
Like,
Brian.
yeah, this is a dream. So this is her liking an older man or being a younger female and having, I don't know, thoughts of an older man. Patrick Swayze in Dirty Dancing was just a dirty, well, he wasn't even old. I mean, but yeah, he was just a dirty dance teacher.
Well, what if all the characters in the Labyrinth were like part of her personality then?
Well, yeah.
Like Jareth was her selfishness. Ludo, well, I guess they're all pretty fucking selfish. But
Well, Ludo, not so much, but I mean,
Ludo's pretty chill. He just is friends with rocks.
yeah, you know, or Hoggle was pretty selfish, but
Sir Didymus is just like her anger. She wants to fight everybody.
yeah.
the dog Ambrosius is fear because it hides from everything.
Yeah, hides. Yeah. Were you guys ever like into the King Arthur lore or like the King Arthur books?
A little bit.
I was never super into that, and I didn't realize Ambrosius is Merlin's alter ego, or like a name that he uses in those books. And so her dog in her real world is named Merlin, and then her dog that you see is Ambrosius, which is the other name Merlin used. Yeah.
I was more for the Black Plague era after that.
Do we have any more to talk about, or should we go to ratings?
I mean, I have some other like weird facts if you want any of that.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Like, okay, so in Magic Dance, you hear the baby making noise. Did you know that's David Bowie?
Oh yeah.
He hired a baby and he didn't like the gurgle noise it made in the studio, so David Bowie re-recorded the baby gurgles.
Wow.
Okay, there's a big controversy in this movie. You know when she rakes the lipstick on the ground?
Yep.
And then the thing pops up and yells something? Everyone disagrees about what the goblin says. Do you guys have an opinion?
When it flipped the tile?
Yeah.
Yeah, it flipped the tile several times.
I don't know. I never could catch it.
Yeah, there's a big disagreement on...
Couldn't you just put on your subtitles and see, does it come up?
Now they say like the subtitles have something, but people, you know, are like, well, maybe it changes and somebody else wrote those in, or...
What did they think it was then?
So I think it's your mother is a fraggedy aardvark.
I thought it said aardvark, yeah.
And so some people think it says aardvark, and some people think it's wogwog.
What the hell's a wogwog?
Then it's all made up goblin if it's wogwog.
Oh, yeah. I swear it said aardvark, but...
That's what I always thought, it was aardvark. But I also, like my whole childhood in Magic Dance, I thought they said slap that baby, make it pee.
What did they say? I thought they said
my whole childhood, I thought that.
I mean, they're goblins. They're probably into some weird stuff.
I know. I thought, like, they're like got the goblin peeing fountains. Like, getting the baby to pee. That's not.
Well, Hoggle like
is peeing at the beginning, right? Like, when she walks up on him, he's
damn.
No one seems like bothered by that he's peeing, and she just walks up on him.
No one to watch him do it.
I know, but excuse me, I'm trying to go to the bathroom here.
Yeah, can I have some privacy?
And it's weird that no one's like surprised she's there. Like, oh, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just like several people come to the Labyrinth once every week.
Yeah, just like there's some regular young women who just show up.
Yeah, just, oh, Jarrett's got another one on the line. You know, like, he likes the brunettes.
So there's a Hoggle puppet that's still in unclaimed baggage. Do you know this one?
I heard a little bit about it.
Yeah, right after they filmed the movie, they were trying to ship some of the puppets and stuff back to other studios, and they lost some of that baggage, including one of the full-size Hoggles. And it stayed in unclaimed mail, and they tried to auction it off, but the movie hadn't come out, and so nobody knew what the hell it was, and nobody bought it. And then once the movie came out, unclaimed mail kept it, and it's on display there.
Yeah, I think I read something about there was a little bit of damage too, and they had to fix it up or something like that, but...
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when we went to the Muppet exhibit, and it traveled all over the country. We were just lucky enough that it came to the museum close to us. They had her dress from the ball. So a full dress,
cool.
And that was towards the end. It was with the Dark Crystal, and they had some stills from the movie. And I think they had one of the other puppets, but I remember the dress because I have a friend that loves this movie, so I had to send it to her. Like, look, it's the dress.
Look, it's the dress.
It's
the iconic dress.
She never danced in because I felt like she was just freaked out and running the whole time.
Yeah. She said they had her do ballroom dancing lessons because she was like really nervous. I mean, she was a 14-year-old. This is like her third movie or something. And everybody else in that ballroom dance set is either David Bowie or a professional dancer. And she was like very intimidated getting there on set.
I almost wonder how they got this film made for $25 million. Just the budget for the clothes and the costumes and the puppetry.
And the puppets, all of these custom built puppets. I mean, they had for the hands, the helping hands, they had thousands of those that they had to build.
Yeah, that's the part freaks me out. I'm like, no, no. And I would want to go back up, not down.
I always think, who chooses down?
Yeah.
You're in a hand tunnel, and you at least know the door is up, the door you came through, and you go, I don't know, I guess I'll go down.
And the hands talking, she chose down. It's like, how did
she chose down.
Yeah. I have a couple of trivia, maybe. The film inspired a manga sequel, officially published by Tokyo Pop in collaboration with Jim Henson Company, centering on Toby's story.
I didn't know that.
So you'd have to do some digging to find that. And then there was a satirical poster featuring Tom Hiddleston as Jareth that went viral, but was later confirmed as fake. Just people seeing that and they're like, oh my God, there's a new Labyrinth. So people went crazy and then they're like, no, it's not real. But when that happens to an old movie, you know, people still love this and still think about this and all of those things. It was nominated for Best Special Effects at the BAFTA Awards, the Saturn Awards for Best Fantasy Film and Best Costumes. And I think it won a Hugo Award for Best Dramatic Presentation. Of course, it's recognized by the American Film Institute as a contender for top 10 fantasy films. I mean, I can't imagine what would be on that list. I should have looked that up, but I would imagine it's classics like Wizard of Oz. And, you know, so that a film that flopped in the 80s is even close to that list.
Yeah.
And I don't know how true this is, but I saw somewhere that a new sequel is in development with director Robert Eggers attached.
Oh, wow. That'd be crazy.
So I'm like, I mean, he does a great job of setting the scenery.
Yeah.
You know.
What would he do with the story, though?
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like you'd have to just do something new, like go back into the world of the goblins and do a new thing.
I don't think you would want to retell this story. You would want to add on to it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that would be the best. You know, if you're going to have something new, like build something truly new and unique versus...
Toby ends up going back when he turns like 16 or something like that, looking for his daddy.
Yeah, and he becomes the Goblin King.
The daddy he misses.
Well, his dad was there. Well, yeah.
Goblin Daddy.
Yeah.
Goblin Daddy.
And of course, it's ranked as the best 80s movies by Empire, a top fantasy film by Time Out. The Daily Telegraph included this in its top kids movies of all time. I mean, kids would like it because there's, you know, kids and music and puppets and all that stuff, but it's not really a kids movie per se.
I watched it as a kid.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I watched a lot of things as a kid. I shouldn't have, but...
Different time.
Of course, you said David Bowie and Trevor Jones. It was released, the soundtrack, on June 23rd, 1986. Several songs, but peaked at number 68 on the Billboard 200 in the US, 38 in the United Kingdom, and it recharted in 2017, peaking at 58. So it's stuck around. I would imagine there's an original vinyl release, but I can't imagine it wasn't re-released.
Yeah.
Somebody's put out some color scheme, Goblin scheme, or David Bowie crotch, you know, themed vinyl.
It's coming on its 40th anniversary next year, so who knows what'll happen.
What'll come out. Oh, it's going to get a 4K treatment. And then you'll be able to see all the people in the background.
Yeah, see all the holes? That's what they said for Magic Dance. They said that set looked like Swiss cheese because it was just like holes everywhere for the goblins. They thought it was going to fall apart.
Oh, you can grab the record just about anywhere. Walmart has it. I mean, Dark Side Records. Heck, here's a limited edition Labyrinth box set with 2 movies, all kinds of cards, a little globe thing.
Ooh, one of the crystals.
Yeah, one of the crystals. You turn it this way, you can see your future, Rod.
Yeah, right. Pretty dim.
And here's Labyrinth Return to Live, which looks like somebody performing the music maybe over the soundtrack.
Oh, maybe like in the concert. That's what I saw it with like a live band.
Labyrinth Live at the Frontiers Metal Festival. Okay.
Whoa.
Interesting. So, I mean, it's around. You can grab the record a lot of places, and it doesn't seem to be, I mean, $30. That's pretty standard for a record. When you're buying it, Rod, you going to go to work tomorrow and give it an order.
I own it on DVD in a 3-pack. Dark Crystal and one other movie Jim Henson did that wasn't huge.
It's like right over there.
You got it too, yeah.
Yeah, it's sitting up there because I just bought it the other day.
Yeah, I probably need to find a Blu-ray edition if they have it. But we ready to rate?
Yeah. You want to go first?
Okay. Like I said, it's been a while, at least 20 years, probably 25. First time I watched it, it was like, okay, kind of went through it. And I think I paid more attention the second time, so I enjoyed it more. I do like Bowie, too. I'm not huge into him, but I do enjoy his music. I give it 3.5 bogs of eternal stench. So
that's probably one of my favorite parts as the dog runs across the bog of eternal stench on the rocks and it just farts. Yeah. Several farts, which as a 47-year-old man, I still find extremely hilarious.
Careful, Ludo!
When anybody farts.
Fart jokes.
They said that bog that they made actually made a lot of those noises while they were filming.
You just throw chemicals into it or out in dry ice or...
They put something in it to make it... They had like a whole thing in here. So they put stuff in it to make it harden or get like kind of slushy, tacky. And then they would throw different colors of pigment to get that kind of like grayish, weird color. But it has like blues and green, kind of like an oil spill almost. But yeah, they put a thickener in it.
It's like a kid's science project. Like you're just a big kid doing all these things, right?
Yeah.
I'm quitting my job in healthcare. I'm going to go work in the puppet business.
Yeah. You can spray glitter on fake spider webs in the forest.
Oh, yeah. Roll rocks. Somebody had to roll those rocks, right? I was thinking that. I was like, whose job was it? At one point, towards the end, they're just a bunch of rocks rolling after these goblins. Yeah. And somebody's rolling those rocks, right? Or dumping them or something. I will go... I'm right around Rod, 3.75 David Bowie crotch shots, because that's what Rod remembers from his childhood.
Yeah.
Because he had crushes on everybody, including Ludo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those horns.
It was the horns, Rod. It's the horns.
Yeah.
So what do you think? It's your turn. You're the guest, so you get to go last.
I mean, for me, this is like a 5 crystal balls movie. Brings back my childhood. I will sing David Bowie for hours afterwards and make my husband crazy. I'll just run around, do all the lines.
Wow.
Try to ride the dogs.
Yeah,
like,
try to ride the dogs. All my dogs are dachshunds, so imagine that. Yeah, I mean, part of it's nostalgia, but this is a 5 crystal ball movie for me.
Well, it's great when you can have a nostalgia for something and then go back and still enjoy it. Because, I mean, Rod and I've talked about, there's stuff that we loved, and then we go back and watch and we're like, why did I like this so much? Why did I watch Faces of Death 50 times when I was a kid? Like, what am I doing?
I do think as like an indie filmmaker, watching a movie this big with this many practical effects is really inspiring too, because nowadays so many people are paying to get, CGI, or they're using like special effects that are not attainable for a really small indie budget. And, I'm doing all of my stuff with practical effects, and then look at what they created with puppets, practical effects, just like thinking about angles and how they could make that happen. I mean, all of the MC Escher end scene within you, that's all practical effects. They're just like putting Bowie on little rigs. They got a Bowie double who's like swinging around.
Well, I've talked about some of the physical media. I'll cover the rest of it before we go to the podcast network. But an initial home video release on VHS, Betamax, and a pan and scan Laserdisc. So you can grab it on Laserdisc even if you want to. And I would imagine I have some CED discs, which are like Laserdisc, but they're more of a vinyl. And the artwork is just beautiful on them. So they would be cool to display if you had a Laserdisc, just to put like in a frame. And then, of course, a widescreen Laserdisc in 94, which was a re-release. Another reissue on VHS by Columbia TriStar with the Inside of Labyrinth documentary. And then on DVD, it was debuted in 1999. And then it was released in 2003, 2007, 2016, all featuring the Inside the Labyrinth as a bonus. And then the 35th edition was released in 2021, which has all the sound and everything. They really amped up the sound on that one. They really went in and cleaned up all the sound and redid a lot of it so that it sounded great.
You can really hear, your mother is a frackety yogbuck.
Yeah. They could have slipped anything in there. Like, you could have, you know. And why don't I meet her mother? So she might not even like her mother. But I wish they would have dragged that joke on a little bit longer. You only get, 3 flips of the tiles?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that little creature is flips. I think at one point it says, somebody's always messing with or writing on the... I was like, I want that to drag out a little bit longer before she notices. I want her to be like halfway through the labyrinth.
Hey, what goes on? Pasta from the cookies and writing on the fraggedy wonka wonka. Hey! Your mother is a fraggedy aardvark!
I think we all had fun with it.
Yeah.
More fun than we have listening to the podcast network.
Well, maybe.
Maybe?
Well, did you have a this or that?
Oh, I got a whole bunch of them, but we'll go to the podcast network. Then we'll do this or that.
Do we have to?
Have to what? We don't have to do anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The Goblin King's not after us, Rod. I mean, we both kind of look like big babies, and we kind of both look like goblins, so we'd probably just blend right in, right? I wouldn't even notice we were there.
Yeah.
So, we'll hear from the podcast network, and then we'll do the this or that. We'll switch things up a little bit, because we're lost in the labyrinth.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
So now that we've been through the labyrinth and we've heard from our podcast network, it's time for this or that. And for our guest, this or that is where I just share 10 movies that I feel like if you like the movie we're covering, Labyrinth, you would enjoy or that are like that movie. At number 10 from 1988 is Willow.
Well, that was really stupid, Peck.
Don't call me a peck.
Oh, I'm sorry. Peck.
Rod, you like Willow?
Yeah, Willow's pretty good. And then they had the TV or the made-for-TV series or whatever that was recently.
A humble farmer sets out to protect a magical baby from an evil queen, aided by unlikely allies and a lot of heart. I think I just bought a copy of that too.
This is the Leprechaun before he was a leprechaun.
It is, yeah. From 2009, Coraline. A curious girl discovers a secret door to an alternate version of her life, but something sinister lurks beneath the surface. You like that one?
I've never seen it.
You've never seen Coraline?
No, we've discussed this before.
I got a copy if you want it.
Yeah, you guys are going to have to watch that.
Yeah. It's another one of those that's supposed to be a kid's movie, but it's super creepy.
Have you heard the story about how the book accidentally got published because the publisher's kid was too scared to tell her parents not to publish it?
Oh.
So Neil Gaiman gave it to the publisher and they were like, we can't publish this as a kid's book. And he was like, no, read it to your kid and see how they like it. And so they started reading it and the kid was like, yeah, keep reading this to me. And then years later they were like, yeah, I was just so scared. I needed to know how it ended and I was too afraid to not know the ending.
Oh man. I actually saw Coraline. Wasn't it just the 20th anniversary?
Yeah, I think they've been putting it out in theaters.
Maybe 25th, because it would have been the 25th or I don't know, 15th. I saw it in Vegas when I was there for the Jamboree. It was on a re-release, so the theater in the hotel was showing it. I was like, well, it's Sunday morning. I'm going to go see Coraline in a theater. From 1982, The Secret of, is it Nim? Is that how you say that? Mm-hmm. With the little mouse?
Yep.
A timid field mouse must seek help from mysterious genetically enhanced rats to save her sick child. This is another one. I'm like, this is not a kid movie, but it is a kid movie. It says underrated gem. I don't know that it's underrated or a gem, but it's good. From 2007, Stardust, a young man journeys into a magical kingdom to retrieve a fallen star, only to find it's a living woman with enemies chasing her. You know that one?
Never seen it.
Oh, that's a fun one.
And it's more your time period because it's 2007. So.
I remember when that came out.
Another one this is definitely not a kid's movie. Pan's Labyrinth from 2006. It does have a labyrinth in it, but in 1944, Spain, a young girl escapes the brutality of war by entering a haunting fantasy world ruled by a mysterious faun. That's probably the one that closest resembles this with the creatures and the the dream and the labyrinth, but
it's just darker, way darker. I mean, Guillermo del Toro, my hero, my absolute TV hero, which is Doug Jones.
Oh yeah,
trained as a mime and was from Indianapolis, where I trained as a mime.
No, I accidentally took my children when my son. I have a 23-year-old and a 20-year-old, so at the time. My son was maybe 7, so my daughter would have been 10. I was like, let's go see Shape of Water. It's just Creature from the Black Lagoon, right? It wasn't.
Oh, wow.
Nope.
Well, we were in the theater.
Oh.
They let you in.
Yeah, they're like, here you go. You want to give us your money, you can go in. From 1985, Return to Oz. Dorothy returns to Oz and finds it in ruins. With new allies, she must battle the Nom King and a head-swapping witch to restore order.
I remember this because I think it was part of the Disney thing on Sundays evenings. They'd show movies, and I remember Fairuza Balk. She was Dorothy in that.
Is that the one with the kind of the round Tin Man? Where he's kind of, and the monkey, or not the monkeys, but was that the one with them on wheels? Yeah. From 2005, Mirror Mask. A teenage girl enters a surreal fantasy world filled with living masks and strange creatures as she searches for a new way home.
Never heard of it.
From 1984, The Never-Ending Story. A lonely boy reads a magical book and becomes part of a fantasy realm threatened by a mysterious force called the Nothing. I think a lot of kids my and Rod's age have a lot of PTSD or trauma from that movie because the horse dies.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still...
I'm sorry, can we stop for a moment?
Yeah.
We need to move on.
I mean, we talked earlier, that one got some new life because of Stranger Things. So I think a lot of people... Have you ever looked up the group that sang that song? It's like pure 80s nostalgia. It's a thin...
the Never-Ending Story.
Yeah,
song.
Yeah,
that's a weird...
Yeah, it's a weird dynamic, and their hair is kind of crazy, and you can't tell if they're in their late 20s or early teens. Like, how old are these kids? Or are they kids? They were up late at midnight because one of the videos I watched was like Never-Ending Story group was performing like for a New Year's Eve party. From 1985, Legend. A young hero must rescue a princess and defeat the Lord of Darkness who wants to destroy daylight forever. I mean, this is Tim Curry.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, well, Tim Curry.
Tom Cruise.
I know you like Tom Cruise just because you watch them damn Mission Impossible movies, but it's Tim Curry.
Tim Curry, yeah. And then, number 1, The Dark Crystal from 1982. On a distant planet, a Griffling must heal a powerful crystal to save his world from the evil, whatever the hell that word is. The other group that's bad. Yeah. The evil one.
Yeah, the evil ones. What do you think? Anything you could think of that would match well with this movie?
That's a pretty good list. I mean, that's definitely has some of my top ones that I would think of.
What do you think, Rod? Got anything that would match well?
I had those 5 on there. Legend, Dark Crystal, Return of Oz, Never-Ending Story, Willow. So yeah, you got all mine.
Oh, well, did all right this episode.
You added a bunch that I have never heard of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there were several I hadn't heard of on that list.
Well, see, now I could scan this into my computer and send it to you guys if you want to watch some movies. So
yeah, like Mirror Mask, I hadn't heard of that.
All right, should we go into the interview part?
Yeah, so I have 5 questions that kind of pair with what we normally do on the second part of our show. but you've told us a little bit about yourself, so tell us more. I mean, you're a mime, you're a director, and you've acted in films.
Yeah, acting.
You're a
was my
dog
love.
mom.
I'm a dog mom first and foremostly. I've got 3 dachshunds, and I named my production company after them. So my production company is called the Snack Pack Pictures. I call my dogs the Snack Pack because their names are Pretzel, Nacho, and Lemonade Shake-Up.
What? What was that last one?
Lemonade Shake-Up.
Yeah, it could be as long as we wanted because my Lemonade, we call her Lemon or Lemonade for short, but she's deaf, so you're not calling her. She can't hear you.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to worry about like that trope. You're out at a park and you're like, Lemonade Shake-Up, come here. She can't hear you anyways. Yeah, but acting was always my first passion, so I went to school for that. I went to Butler University in Indianapolis. I studied theater there, movement theater, devised theater. My specialty was in movement theater with non-traditional partnering in mime. I also spent several months in Russia studying at the Moscow Art Theater School. So I worked on Stanislavski. I had to learn ballet there, singing, more movement, stage combat. Stage combat in Russia was very intense. And I did 2 summer intensives with the group Push Physical Theater out in Rochester, New York. If you haven't heard of them, you should totally look them up because they're very cool. But they combine movement, dance, and mime to like create new stories. So I started out definitely acting was my passion, but also devised theater, which is where you're building stuff together with other people. And when I got out of college, I moved back to Iowa, which is where I'm based out of right now. And I just wasn't finding like a theater community that I was really fitting into. And so I decided to start working on film. And I met a lot of really cool people. And I found film to be collaborative, the way that I had been used to making devised theater. And then I wasn't getting, there weren't a lot of opportunities. We're in the Midwest and not in LA or anything. And I wanted to have better roles for myself. So I wrote my first movie. And that was Inheritance, which I think you both have maybe seen.
Yep. It was in the Halloween-a-Palooza a couple years ago.
Yep. Yeah, that was my first film that I wrote, and I produced that. I star in it, and that was a really cool experience, and we're doing some more of that. I think in 2 weeks, we're going to film another horror short, so that should be coming up pretty soon.
Nice.
And we have another little drama piece that we're also hoping to shoot pretty soon here, too. So, but all of this kind of started from I needed to fulfill myself as an actor, but then also I had found myself in several situations where I found like the sets were just not inclusive. It was a lot of kind of like less safe environments or like misogynistic environments that I wasn't enjoying. And I kind of came to that conclusion that like you have to build the world you want to see. And so especially here in the Midwest, I want to create really safe sets for people to really be creative and create new things and collaborate together. And so far I've had good reviews. So
So besides Inheritance, have you directed anything else?
So I directed Weed Man, and then I have a series of like little short comedy sketches too that I put out that was called Snack Pack Laugh Tracks. These are really short, like micro shorts under 2 minutes. I directed those, and then the 2 projects that are coming up I'll also be directing.
And you also have a website too that you can go to and see many of these.
I do, yeah. It's my name. So Alannah Swenka, Alannah is my first name, and Swenk is my last name. And if you search that, you can find my website. And I always post the stuff that I create and also just other stuff that I'm in. So I'm in several other really cool projects just as an actor. Like there's a feature film I did recently called The Drift List, which is a horror film that's premiering in Manchester very soon. And that is a really cool project that everybody should be on the lookout for. So
had a few things written here. You were part of Threads of Fate.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Threads of Fate.
Yeah, that was another short that was part of Halloween-a-Palooza 2 years ago.
Yes, I wrote, directed, and starred in Threads of Fate. Yes.
And then you had another one, right?
Maybe you acted only in this one. Was Sucks to Be Vegan?
Yes, I acted in that one.
It was you, right?
Yep, I'm a vegan vampire, or a vegan who gets turned into a vampire and is struggling with my newfound hunger.
And I've seen that too. I think I've been a judge for Halloween-a-Palooza. It's my 4th year.
Yeah.
I've been around for a while with that one. And they keep inviting me back, so I must
fortunate to have small parts with like Carson T. Morrissey too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a really small part at the beginning of The Salvages, which was her recent feature that's done really well. So yeah, I've been fortunate to work with a lot of really cool people.
Yeah, and it's interesting how big the community for theater and movies is getting. Maybe not theater, but film in Iowa. It just continues to grow and grow and grow. And I have a cousin that her daughter is an actress, and it's a lot of them going to Davenport in the Quad Cities and a lot of them going out east, but it's not really a lot other than Chicago in Illinois. It's Iowa and out east or Chicago. So it's very interesting to me that the community in Iowa, and it sounds like the state supports through some grants and through other things.
Somewhat. There's not very many grants. So it's really competitive. There's like one smaller grant for like screenwriting. I think that only goes up to about $5,000. And there's one larger grant, the Greenlight grant, which is the bigger, more competitive one. And for that being like the whole year, they also just passed the tax incentives, I believe, which are controversial. And I probably have a controversial take on it. But as an indie filmmaker, I think starting those tax incentives at $1 million budget is not actually conducive to most of the people making movies right now in Iowa.
Right.
No. I mean, that's bringing bigger productions that probably don't need those tax incentives.
It's bigger productions, and I know their hope is that the bigger productions will come here and that they will build infrastructure, which is not very realistic, because if they're traveling to another state and their base is out somewhere else, they're going to use existing things. They're going to try not to need a studio or anything like that. But the other thing I wish that they would do, and I would feel a lot better about it if they would work this in, would be to have a requirement to hire a certain percentage of Iowans.
Yeah.
So like even for the Greenlight grant, which only gives you like up to $50,000 tops, you have to have matching funds to get that. And you have to have 50% of that money going to Iowans directly. But on this 30% tax return on $1 million that they just passed, there is no requirement that you have to hire any Iowans. So what we've seen traditionally happen with things like that is that they will just pick up their crew from LA, pop them in Iowa for the film, and then they'll all bounce. And people don't end up getting jobs really the same way. People who own hotels, restaurants near those places, it's a good deal for them. But if they would ensure that like they had to hire a certain number of Iowans, then that would at least ensure that like we would get entry-level jobs on those sets, which would be a big deal for people here. But right now that is not part of it. And so I don't think it's going to work out the way they think it is, but I would love to be proven wrong.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people that I've talked to that are in the business got in the business not because they had these amazing skills, because most people do. If they get into the business, it's because they were in a small film and they made a connection with this person and they connect with these people, and then eventually it builds up and it leads to a bigger role.
Yeah, networking is a huge part of it, is like just starting anywhere and being open and listening and ready to work. As an actor, you know, they kind of say at a certain level, everyone's good. Like everyone's good. Like nobody's here doing any of this work up for these roles who's like, dang, they're a really bad actor. Like everyone has a base level of good. So like the thing that sets you apart is taking direction, being easy to work with, you know, and then a lot of it's just, do you look like what they wanted, you know? I mean, you can't get past that. That's part of it, but...
Well, the first reason I have nothing to do with acting is because I have a horrible memory and I could barely read my lines when we do a 10-second clip, let alone read through a whole thing. I wing pretty much everything. This is probably the most notes I've ever taken for a guest, is these 5 questions. I usually just wing it all. Just whatever comes up, I ask you about, and we go from there. So I would be maybe great at improv, but you put me on a set with lines, I'm going to fail. I would probably read your lines and Rod's lines, and you guys would have no lines. And if I get lines, I think I was in a short with Brett and Tony and Ash and Abe. They're a group that's out of Burlington, and they've had some short films. I think I had like 3 lines, and it was all improvised. And then they did another thing, and they're like, just say this. And it was like 2 lines. And I don't even know if you can hear what I say, so it doesn't matter.
So question, I guess I don't know so much about it, but the 48-hour film festival, you know, is that an Iowa thing?
Yeah, so it's actually an international thing. I'm pretty sure it's at least national. So there is one in Chicago. There's certain states that have multiple ones in different cities, but you have to have somebody who's willing to produce it in your city. And so in Iowa, we only have one in Des Moines. So everybody who wants to compete competes in the Des Moines 48-hour. But if you're in the top in the Des Moines 48-hour, you actually go on to play at Filmapalooza in LA.
Oh, wow.
And that is the top ones from all the other cities. And then there's another level if you're the top at Filmapalooza, where you go on, I believe, nationally to compete.
And was your Threads of Fate a 48-hour project?
Yep, Threads of Fate was a 48-hour, and so was Weedman. And so was Sucks to Be Vegan, actually.
How far did you get with those then?
We got to Best of City here in Des Moines. So we won, Threads of Fate, we won an award for like Best Use of Prop, I think. But we didn't get to Filmapalooza. So the films that come out of 48s, they're really impressive. And I mean, that's all like Friday night. They tell you what your required character that you have to use is, a required line you have to say, a required prop you have to use, and then you draw 2 genres out of a hat. That night, you write that whole film. Like, you don't know what you're doing before that. So Friday night,
oh, crazy.
You get all that information and you have until Sunday, like at 7:00 to write, film, edit, and finish your movie and send it.
Damn.
So Threads of Fate was done. I wrote it Friday night. We shot it Saturday, edited it Sunday, and it was done.
Wow. Impressive.
So you're up for 48 hours straight, probably.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you don't sleep. Yeah. And I would imagine some people do really well with that, and some people don't do well at all.
Yeah, and I think it's good to like know your strengths, like have your team know what you're really good at and figure out how to pace yourself. I'll say Threads of Fate was my first 48 that I wrote, and I was too ambitious. I had something to prove, and I was like, there's like a big dialogue heavy section, and it was a little too ambitious. We had 3 or 4 locations, which meant company moves, which was a terrible idea. Like, it was so stupid. I mean, we completed it on time. We made it to Best of City, but I learned my lesson from that. In Weedman, I understood like one location. What is it that we have? I really dialed into how much time I had. And so like Weedman, everything that was on the paper ended up on the screen. We didn't have to cut for time anything, because you can also only have 7 minutes of film for a 48. And Threads of Fate, we found ourselves cutting down a little bit. Like it got a little too long in places.
Did you say you were the jogger in Threads of Fate?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you were? Okay. Yeah, because at the beginning you're talking and then you're jogging into this tunnel and then all of a sudden you're captured.
Yep.
Then it turns into something else. So
Yeah. Abduction was our genre that we had to do. And then the required character was Chris Steele, a professional athlete. So it's like set up that she's like training for a match and then she gets abducted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird because I'm actually zip tied to a chair for a lot of Threads of Fate. Like for a little while we were doing that, we kept like cutting me off the chair and letting me stand up. And then we were like, oh, we don't have enough zip ties. And at that point, I had to stay zip tied to the chair. So I was also like helping direct. So I was like stuck to the chair. We'd film something and then Ben Schmidt, the cinematographer, would come over and like show it to me while I'm zip tied to the chair. But I had to just stay zip tied to the chair for a really long time. And the next weekend, we were filming all the VHS footage for Inheritance, which, spoiler alert, I am tied to a chair for a while in that also.
Wow.
And it's Maddie Wieland is the actor opposite me in both those films. So for like 2 weekends in a row, we tied me to a chair and me and Maddie yelled at each other. So
I'm not sure what you do for work, but when people say, what are you doing this weekend? That's
right.
a question I always ask at work. I work in healthcare. I work in an office with 12 other people. I'm 1 to 11, female to male. So, and they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm going to a scary movie convention. I'm recording the podcast. I'm taking my 7-year-old out of state to tumbling or to an event. And I can just, your coworkers, and maybe they're used to it. What are you doing this weekend? I got to be zip tied to a chair again.
I'm going to be zip tied to a chair for a while. Yeah. So I'm actually right now I'm a professional actress. I have a little bit of a side gig, but I'm just doing this and making films for a little bit. I've been a professional barista before, and I was working at a bank for a little while. And that's where I had this weekend, I was filming this short where I'm like kind of like losing my mind. And then I get covered in a bunch of blood. They splatter blood on my face. I had it all over my hands. And I was working at the bank at that time. And this blood that they used stained and it wouldn't come off my skin. And so I went back to work and I had like fully red hands. I had like spots of red on my face. And I was just like, I just had fake blood on me.
Got chicken pox. Can I go home?
Yeah.
So when the year we filmed Inheritance, which was like 2 years ago now, I counted up the amount of times I had fake blood put on my face, and it was 8 times that year. I was like fake blood girl that year. I just kept getting fake blood poured on me all the time.
I've probably had years in healthcare where I had blood on me 8, 10,
Real
maybe
blood,
even
though.
in a week. Yeah, like
I'll skip that.
What's been your favorite project to work on, though?
I mean, Inheritance was amazing. That team, I mean, that was a very intentional film we were making, and everyone was so supportive who was on that. That was my first go at things. I kind of had a bad time with a group I've been working with where they were like, I don't know, I don't think you're good enough to write. And I was kind of like, well, screw that. I'm going to write my own movie. And I wrote Inheritance, and and I had these other friends who were like, yeah, let's make it. And they were so respectful. The whole environment was so collaborative, and they were really open to being like giving me a position to learn and to take control over the set. And I worked with just the most amazing people. So like Ben Schmidt was the director on that. Tristan Bennett was the cinematographer. And Emil Laksa actually came on and was the AD like last minute. And that movie would not have happened without his organization. All of the actors, just everything about that was amazing. And we all pushed ourselves a lot. Like Inheritance, I don't know if you know, but it has a VHS component.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We actually shot that on VHS. So I have a working 80s camcorder, and we shot that on VHS, and then Ben edited it tape to tape. And I had originally been like, no, let's not do that. And Ben was like, no, it's going to be cool. We're going to do that. And I'm so glad he did, because it sets it apart. Like the authenticity you get from that is just, it's so creepy, and it works so well. But the amount of work Ben put into editing that tape to tape off VHSs that we shot, and the amount of risk, like one of the first days we were filming then the VHS TV with the modern day actors, Jason, who plays John in the film, they didn't know how to work that VHS TV, and they hit a button and they started recording over our VHS.
You're like, ugh.
And I mean, Ben was smart. Ben had backups on backups of all those tapes. There's actually a moment where you can see he's like watching stuff, and then the screen goes to like the white fuzz.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't supposed to do that. We wanted to keep filming, and he had recorded over white fuzz of what was supposed to be there. And so we get him shutting it off, and then we go back and get the other footage.
Yeah, I think that's the short that got you on our radar was Inheritance, because I feel like we both really enjoyed that.
It was one of the first ones that popped up for last season. Looking back at our ratings, Brian and I liked it the most. Looking at my comment here that I wrote was, I really love the use of the VHS tape and how they felt like they were decades old. I thought the acting was great and felt creeped out by the uncle. I would really like to see this expanded kind of thing, but I really like that one. That was the first ones, and it was my favorite at that point. So
yeah, we had so many people on the festival run say, like, are you going to make this a feature? Is this going to become a feature? To which I say, if anybody wants to give me a bunch of money and invest in it, I will 100% make this a feature.
Yeah, because you're going to have to buy a lot of VHS tapes.
Yes. And actually, the horror short that we're going to film in 2 weekends is for a competition. It's the Jacob Owens competition. He owns FX lenses, if you've heard of that, but they're really cool. And their required component was VHS tapes. And so we were like, you guys, we have so many VHS tapes. So it's going to have a VHS component also. Yeah, we have so many VHSs. Well, you know, the weird thing I have now is I'm the girl who has a jar of human teeth. Spoiler alert.
Like real teeth?
They're
like
not real teeth. They are they are resin teeth. They were like artist created resin teeth.
Oh.
When I was trying to shop for human teeth, though, it was surprisingly easier to buy real human teeth than it was to buy resin teeth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I would imagine.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I bought all these resin teeth. And what was really funny is the person who made the resin teeth, they were, I think, in the UK. They weren't in the United States. So the package had to go through customs when it came here, and they wrote really big on the bag, like fake human teeth. And I knew what day they were getting delivered. I was like tracking it and watching for the mail to come because I like needed these human teeth. And I watched the mail guy come up, and he puts the package in my mailbox, and I'm like, oh, great, that's it. And then he kind of starts driving away, and then I watch him back up and open my mailbox again and pull out the package and read it and then put it back. And I was like, and I didn't know it said fake human teeth on the front, but he must have been like, what on earth?
Freaked them out.
What are these weirdos up to? What do you think? Should we get to the questions for the guest?
Yeah.
So first question, I'll start at the top and go to the bottom. What is your favorite film of all time?
Oh, This is such a
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
question.
I mean, we're a film podcast, a pop culture podcast, so I'll give you 2. How's that?
Oh no.
Or top 3. Is that even harder?
So hard. I mean, Labyrinth is one of those films that I find foundational for me, which is why I picked it. And then I have like comedy films that I like come back to and watch a lot, which I feel like I'm about to be really embarrassed that I'm going to say this, but like I watch the new Baywatch remake movie like all the time. I think this movie is so funny. I think Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Zac Efron are so funny. And I actually think they like really flipped the script on Baywatch in like a really interesting way. Like, this is Baywatch. This is slow motion women in bikinis running, right? This is a rated R movie. You never see a pair of boobs ever in this movie, but you do see 2 penises, which is
wow.
Like,
that flips
I haven't
the script.
seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
have
Yeah.
a lot of agency. Like, they have all the agency. Like, it's not men chasing after these women. It's like the women are like always in charge and the men are kind of like the big beefcakes. It really flips the script on what you think of Baywatch. I think this movie is very funny, and I know most people do not like this movie. But yeah, Labyrinth. And then
I mean, I don't know if it helps, but I have 2 lists. I keep my regular movies in one list and my scary movies in another list.
you know, the other movie I almost suggested for us to watch was The Killing of a Sacred Deer. If you haven't seen that.
I have
with
not.
De Niro, right? Or no, Bill, you're talking about the one with Nicole Kidman?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. I'm thinking of The Deer Hunter.
Yeah, it's really slow burn and it uses space in an interesting way. And it was actually a movie that we talked about a lot when we were making Inheritance, for just like how they were like using space and to build tension and using silence to build tension. So yeah, I don't know if it's my favorite of all time, but I'm going to put that up there.
Yeah.
I'm a big TV show person. Like Sense8, I think, is one of the greatest TV shows ever made.
What?
Sense8?
Never heard of it.
Oh my gosh. This is a piece of art. It's the Wachowskis. Yeah, and it's like 8 people wake up one day and realize they're all mentally connected. They filmed on every continent the first season, and so like all these people from around the world are like interacting in each other's worlds, but only in their mind. And the movement work that's created in this is just like amazing. Like, I think Sense8 is one of like the most amazing pieces of art, but it's not a movie, it's a TV show, so it never
No, I mean, that's so...
Where's it streaming?
It's on Netflix.
I swore off TV shows after there was a TV show called Pushing Daisies. I don't know if you know this show. And it lasted maybe 2 seasons, maybe 3. I think it was only 2 seasons.
2, yeah.
But I was like, I'm done watching fucking TV. If they're only going to put this on for 2 seasons, I'm never doing this again
you're
because
be so mad about Sense8 then.
I got invested. I will watch stuff like my girlfriend will watch NCIS or any of those that are like 18 seasons long over and over again. I don't even know what she's watching now, but I mean, Gilmore Girls and all those. So I do get pulled into those because she's rewatching them, but I've kind of strictly became a movie person because I hate when stuff gets going and I get invested and then it doesn't go anywhere. I'm
a big episodic watcher. Like, if you were like, what's your top 3 TV shows? I could tell you that right away. And
well, tell us.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Sense8 for sure. Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, yeah.
Is so important to me. Like, I love Buffy and I could watch that forever and talk about it. I watched Buffy for the first time when I was in college and I was like, this just changed my life.
Yeah.
Well, that's 2. What's the third one?
Bob's Burgers. I watch Bob's Burgers religiously, like all the time. Like, if I'm brain dead or working on things and I'm not paying, like Bob's Burgers is running in my house all the time.
I know we covered Rick and Morty at one point, but I'm more of a Futurama person. And I kind of feel like you fall into the Simpsons, Family Guy, Futurama, Bob's Burgers. There's like all these different people where they all different fall, but I'm a Futurama. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what your favorite shows are, Rod, but I'm a big Quantum Leap fan. I love that.
Ooh,
I love the X-Files.
The old Quantum Leap.
Oh, yeah, the original.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Scott Bakula.
Scott Bakula.
So, piggybacking off of what's your favorite film? What's your favorite TV show? What film or TV show has shaped your style of filmmaking, acting, writing the most, do you feel like? Maybe I should have gave these to you like before, but I love
these ahead of time so I could think about it.
Yeah.
A big thing that really shapes my writing, and this isn't like necessarily a movie, but like because I studied movement and viewpoints in particular, that's Anne Bogart her style, and she ran City Company out in New York. But Viewpoints focuses on like movement together, but it also considers silence or stillness a movement and like very foundational. And I think if you watch Inheritance, you can see that I think silence and stillness is very important, and I think it builds a lot of tension. I also think like using space and movement in an interesting way or in an unconventional way is like very interesting, and you'll see that in Sense8 for sure. Because my background was in movement, and when Sense8 came out, I was transitioning out of college and theater. I felt like I saw the work I used to do in like devised theater and movement on film for the first time and translated into a narrative in a certain way when I watched Sense8. And it felt really new and fresh and like something I understood from my theater background in a way that I could explain it or show it to people that they didn't understand before.
Now, do you feel like it's harder for you as a filmmaker because the generation we live, or the generation maybe you or live in, or the younger generation, is everything short and it's got to keep moving because they lose their sense of paying attention in 5 seconds. Yeah. So a pause to them is like, okay, yeah, I'm out. You know what I mean? So does that make it harder as a filmmaker for you?
Yeah, I think I kind of have two answers to this, which the first one is I think that person is not my audience. And the second is that I think because of how fast content is right now and how we are so conditioned to just want things to change very fast, it makes stillness impactful. So for people who are ready to enjoy film and like art and are paying attention, I think that really makes it impactful for them because they're not used to seeing it all the time.
Because it's almost like I don't want to say it's older films, because I feel like the older horror films, the Frankenstein, the Creature, the Wolfman, they're all super short. They're all close to an hour long, but I feel like that is in all of those films.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of the A24 stuff it's considered elevated horror nowadays, but
I think, A24 even is becoming quite mainstream, and retro also is like, but I part of the reason that is too is I think as everything, like the bigger houses were moving toward this faster content, people also saw what the quote-unquote indie content was and craved that as well, which had really pushed it up.
And I'm one of those people that, and Rod can tell you this, a movie's over an hour and a half, I gotta get going. We watched Casablanca and I was like, Rod, I was bored, like, is something gonna happen? But then we watched On Golden Pond. I don't know if you know that movie, and I absolutely love that movie.
Yeah, I think it can depend. Like, honestly, I did not find Oppenheimer to be too long. Like, I was pretty engaged for Oppenheimer, and that was a really long movie. That was when I went and saw in theaters, and I was kind of like, do I want to see this in theaters? I'm going to have to pee eventually. It's so long.
Yeah.
But I was really engaged for that whole movie. So I think it depends, too, on, how well the pacing is.
So my next question, we're going to go down the list. We did movies. We did TV. Let's do music. What's your favorite band and or song?
I am really into Paris Paloma right now. She has a song out called Labor that I've been listening to a lot. Sun Lux is also a group that I'm really influenced by.
What kind of music is this?
This is this is like really like soft indie, folky kind of indie pop.
It'd be for us older generation, it'd be like a yacht rock. Or like singers and songwriters like James Taylor. And
yeah, when I was working with Push Physical Theater, they used to put Sun Lux on all the time in the studio when we were like improvising movement stuff. And so it always it gets my creative juices flowing. So I always really like to come back to them. But especially lately, I think I've been listening to Paris Paloma like all the time.
Do you find yourself going in? Like, again, my 7-year-old listens to 80s rock every night before bed. And then on the way to school, we're listening to K-pop Demon Hunter, Taylor Swift, Pink Pony Club. And then I've been really into Alice in Chains lately. But I work with a bunch of younger people who grew up in the 90s, so we listen to Pop 2K or, all day at work. Do you find yourself going in ebbs and flows where you're stuck on a certain... When you get into a film or a short, do you ever I feel like this would match well with this music or this band? Do you ever find yourself
I actually have playlists for thing, especially like Inheritance has a playlist that I like kind of built. And so when I'm writing or thinking about things, then I can put that on. Or if I like need to answer questions for myself about the story or what's happening, I can kind of put that on to get myself into the mood of that.
I wonder what the playlist. I'm just trying to picture the playlist for Inheritance because it's creepy. It's 80s, early 90s. It's dark. It's
some mother on there.
What is your favorite book? I hate to read, so if you have a book, I'm probably not going to know what it is. Rod reads. Everybody in my house reads. I hate to read, but I will throw on any foreign film and read subtitles all day.
I've been having like a reading renaissance lately. Like I went a little while without reading very much and I'm kind of back to it. And so I'm keeping a book stack. And right now I have, I think 16 physical books I've read this year. And then like another 12 audiobooks I've done for the year. And like last year I read like 3 books.
My whole lifetime I've read 16 books, let alone in a year.
So one of my all-time favorite books that I read a bunch, especially like through high school and growing up, I loved Howard Pyle's Robin Hood. I don't know, I like the characters. It's a real adventure book, you know, people fighting for, you know, the good, like stealing from the rich, giving, but then like you have very complex characters, you know, and Robin Hood, if you've ever read it, like it ends very tragically. It ends very sad. Mm-hmm. And it's a really upbeat book like the whole time and then like ends very tragically. So that was one of my favorite books. I am also a huge John Green fan. And Paper Towns, which is a young adult novel, but Paper Towns was really foundational to me. I actually did my senior thesis in college on Paper Towns. I did a devised movement piece on, it was like a half-hour piece, and it like was about metaphors and how we view people. And so like imagining people complexly. It like takes the idea of the manic pixie dream girl, and then she doesn't live up to that because we can't imagine people and expect them to just be the fantasy. We have to like understand that everyone is complex. And I love turning around the manic pixie dream girl. So like Paper Towns and The Great Gatsby does this also with Daisy Buchanan is like one where like she is like the fantasy woman who doesn't live up to the fantasy because she is a real person. So that's one of my favorite like tropes. Like Daisy Buchanan is one of my dream characters to play.
I was going to ask how many of those 16 are fairy smut books.
Oh, it's been a lot
you
of
talked about.
I got fired from my job in November.
You got fired? God, How do you do that? Where do I sign up?
It was a bad situation. It was a pretty illegal firing, but it was good, I guess. And one of my friends from work when I got fired was like, here, I'm going to start you on this path. And it was my first fairy smut book ever. And I was like, yeah, I guess I got some time now. I read When Women Were Dragons this year, which was an amazing book just about like the oppression of women and how, but it's in a fantasy setting. So it like takes like the 1950s. And when women were repressed or like forced to be housewives, if that like anger and that energy burst out of them and they literally turned into dragons is what this like story is. So I read that and that was amazing. I read Jenna McCarty's memoir, which was a rough read, but also really amazing.
Yeah, my best friend lives in Alabama. She moved there a couple of years ago, and she'll send me clips of what she's reading, like people making fun of it or like somebody reading it. And I'm like, what are you reading? What is this?
Yeah, there's a good mix of fairy smut in there too, though.
You can never give me a hard time about any scary movie I watched because this is way worse than most of those. What genre of film have you not worked on but are looking forward to working on? If there is one.
Yeah, I haven't really done like romance or romantic comedy. I do think that'd be fun. I don't know that I would say like I'm super excited to work on that. I would love to do like a real superhero kind of thing. Weedman was kind of like a little bit of a superhero kind of thing. But I have a really strong memory of when I decided I wanted to be an actress, which was watching Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. And I remember thinking like I got this kind of like melancholy feeling where I was like, this isn't real. Nobody like lives these big lives or like gets to, you know, have these epic stories. And then I thought, well, somebody did. The actors did. And they get to do it, you know, and then start like not wreck their lives. Like no one actually is dead and then go do it again and do another one. And like that's like was a really foundational memory of being like, I think that's what I want to do is live a lot of adventures. So I'd love to work on like a bigger kind of adventure or fantasy, or like a true adventure movie. Like Treasure Island is like a true adventure story. It's not fantasy, it's not action, like something that's really like searching for something, you know?
If we're remembering early, it sounds like you want to work on Muppet Treasure Island.
I really would love to work on, I would love to do a Muppet movie. That'd be amazing.
My last question is, and you touched on this earlier, what's the hardest part of making a short film? The biggest issue I have as a judge is probably one of the hardest parts for most people, because I see it continuously come up and come up and come up and come up. And being a podcaster, I had to learn how to do it, is how to edit myself and cut time.
That's what I was thinking, is like killing your darlings is really editing down. Even Inheritance did really well, but it was my first film that I wrote, and I didn't understand how a half-hour short film was ridiculous. Yeah. And it did well still, regardless, but I kind of learned my lesson from that, and I'm not going to make another half-hour short film. They have to be at least 15 minutes or less, just to make
hard to restrain yourself, huh?
Yeah, and I didn't think about, Inheritance was such a slow burn, and I do think part of the reason it did well is because it isn't poorly paced. It's long, but it was intentionally paced. It just is really hard to program. So I think it would have shown more places had it not been so long. And because even if we went back and we're going to cut, I think we only realistically were going to get 5 to 7 minutes out of it before we really started to hurt the story. And when me and Ben looked at editing it down after we kind of first started submitting it and realizing it was a little long, most of the places we would have even tried to take something out would have been the VHS footage. And because of the nature of how we shot it, it was impossible to edit that stuff easily.
It definitely needed that VHS footage, otherwise it wouldn't have the right feel.
Yeah, and that's what, like, taking out 5 to 7 minutes from a half hour wasn't going to significantly, like, that it wasn't enough to change how long it was, but editing yourself down is a big part of it. And then I think, something that I think makes indie films and these short films really work, and what shows really well on Inheritance, is like how happy and collaborative everybody was on set, and curating that environment for everyone to feel like they can bring that is difficult to do, limiting your ego.
Yeah, because you have to be open to everybody's opinion, I would imagine, on a short, because you have such a small crew, and that one opinion you may not listen to because your ego is too big, not you per se, but maybe the thing that makes it an amazing short, not just a short.
Yeah, you never know where the great idea is going to come from. And obviously when you're on like a massive, huge budget feature, like everyone kind of knows their place. But when you're on, like, Inheritance was the cast and like 5 of us just doing it. You know, Emil was the AD, and on a big budget set, you know, the AD wouldn't give you advice or throw in their opinion on framing. On this one, though, he did, and that was valuable to us. It was very valuable. Or Kevin Thorne, if you know him, he did sound on Inheritance, but he's also an amazing cinematographer himself. And he often had like ideas or thoughts on things that were really valuable on that set. You know, that's what is really going to elevate things, is having more eyes. And that's part of where the editing yourself comes into, is listening to multiple people.
What do you think? Do you have any questions, Rod?
I don't think I have anything else.
We covered everything. We talked about David Bowie.
Are you able to go into any of your future projects at all, or?
Yeah, so we have the little horror competition short coming up. Hopefully, you know, that'll be out. We'll, you know, in a couple weeks, we'll shoot that.
Do you have any plugs you want to drop?
Yeah. If you want to follow any of my work or me, you can follow me on social media or my website. That's my name, Alannah Swenka, which is ALANNAHSWENKA. Or you can also follow my production company, which is Snack Pack Pictures.
And if you want, I can throw all that information in the bottom of the podcast episode. So if you're listening, you can how did she spell that again? And you can just go down there and find the links.
Yeah, follow me on social media. And then you can always keep track of where, you know, we're at and what festivals our stuff is playing at and what we're making, when it's going to come out. So
any questions for us? This is always fun. Sometimes we'll get some, but not always. But sometimes we get questions.
I thought of a question. I don't have one really, but okay. What's the horror short that you wish you saw at festivals that you've never seen?
God, if I've never seen it, I don't know that I would want to see it. But
what do you mean exactly?
Like, is there something like? every year when you're watching films for like Halloween Palooza, are you like, where's that Alien movie? You know, why is like, I want to see more of this thing. What's like the thing you're craving that you're not seeing right now?
You don't get many Alien movies or science. We did watch a science fiction one that was actually really good. You don't get a lot of those because I feel like the practical effects and that would eat up a lot of the budget. So you don't get a lot of that.
My thing is with judging is it's hard to find good kills.
Yeah, it is very hard to find good kills.
Like they're far and few between, and it's mostly off-screen kills. It's getting too expensive to put in that work. So I would like to see something with very good kills. So
I think one of the ones that stuck with me the year that Inheritance was at Halloween-a-Palooza was black and white, very set in the maybe 100 years ago. Do you remember that one? Where the girl has to give her parents the cocktail and then puts them to sleep for the winter because there's not enough food. So very stylized.
They're like outside buried, right?
Mm-hmm.
I saw this film that year too. That was very good.
I think it won an award there.
More along that lines of, because you get slashers, you get Halloween, you get all these tropes all the time. Take me places that I don't normally go. Especially as an older person, I'm not afraid of Freddy or Jason or Michael. Take me places where it's hard because your budget is so limited, but take me places where I'm not scared of what I'm seeing. I'm scared of the thought of it and the trauma. I don't know if you watch a lot of scary films, but one of my favorites this year was Bring Her Back.
I haven't seen that.
And it's an Australian film, but to me, it wasn't about what was going on in the film. It's about grief and trauma and PTSD and all of these things. I wasn't scared of anything in the film, but leaving the theater, I'm like, how would I deal with that? Like, I felt it and it stuck with me. I don't go to a Friday the 13th or slasher film and I'm not scared of that, you know, because most of the time they're so unrealistic. And I mean, this had parts of it, but the grief and the death and all of those things stick with me. I want more of that. And I kind of felt like Inheritance, maybe it's kind of a slasher or true crime, but you kind of feel that unsettled feeling. And I think that's why a lot of people want to know if it was going to be a feature. Where does it go from there? What does he find out about his uncle? What does he find out about himself? Like, if this is his family, what am I?
Yeah, we were definitely like talked a lot about the themes of like inherited family trauma and inheritance and how, you know, you can like, especially like toxic masculinity and how you can pass that down in your family. So I'm glad you picked that up. But yeah, I'm actually really glad I asked this question too. That was good. That was a fun answer.
What do you think? I mean, we're going to see again on the road somewhere.
I'm
down
sure.
the road. I mean, Rod's around. He's in Iowa. I'm in Illinois. But yeah, we'll be interested to see what you do, because I'm sure it'll come across at Snake Alley. And if any of your stuff gets into the Chicago Horror Film Festival, I've judged for that the last 2 years.
Oh, yeah. Inheritance was there that
Yeah.
year. Yeah.
They're a little different because for Halloween-a-Palooza, we see everything. For the Chicago Horror Film Festival, I get like a block of 10 films, and I judge those.
Yeah, they had a lot of films playing there. So I'm sure, yeah, they've got a compartmentalized.
Yeah, there's no way you could watch everything.
It was crazy how many films were playing.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see you. And I don't know if you'll be at Halloween-a-Palooza this year, but we will both be there. We may see you there.
Well, yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
It's way longer than our normal episodes. They're like 35, 40 minutes long. But I feel like when you get talking and you get all this insight into what is going on in Iowa and in film and in shorts, I mean, we could maybe chop this up into 2 episodes, but we'll just leave it at 1 and they can just enjoy the slow burn of listening to us.
Slow burn, just like Inheritance. And Inheritance is out for everyone to view on Vimeo. I forgot to say that. So we've referenced it a lot, but you can watch it online right now.
If it wasn't 10 o'clock at night and way past my bedtime, I'd go watch it again. Well, like Rod said, thank you very much. I'm going to play the outro music, and it's December now, kids. We're going to get into some weird Christmas movies after this, right? Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That marks the end of our broadcast day here at The Wrong Podcast Died. Our transmission is powered by a frequency of 800 watts. We will resume our usual programming in 2 weeks. Until then, we bid you good night.